Okay, so here we are in my master bedroom, and I'm going to go through the plants here and take a look to see how they're doing for, well, what I call summer, but it's really midwinter, but in Southern California. It's pretty warm. So here's my Zizi plant, and I purchased this one about 6 months ago. No, a little bit longer, I think. And it's doing really well. It's just sprouting some new growth. It has about 4 or 5 of these new leaf stalks here. I was watering it. I was waiting a long time to water it, and it started to develop these brown edges. So now I'm doing it about once a month. It's been almost a month since I've watered this, so probably this Friday on watering day will be the next time it gets a drink. And I haven't fertilized it yet because it just started growing these new stalks. And I keep hearing that it grows slowly, but this one's pretty fast. Maybe when they're established they grow faster, but I'm interested to see how it does after I fertilize it. So that is my Zizi plant, and it's a good size. And, you know, come to think of it, this pot is still really heavy. I'll have to really check it before I water it again, but I don't want to wait too long. And over here is my parlor palm. This one is sentimental to me. It was something that was on the desk of one of my good friends who was fired from our last job, our last employer, and she left it, and it was kind of, you know, it was dying, and I revived it. But this one, if you can see, is really attacked by spider mites. It's really, that yellowing there, that's from spider mites. Even the new growth. This thing, no matter what I do, I shouldn't say no matter what I do, I haven't tried everything, but spider mite central, even on new growth. The burnt tip ends, like these, are from using a mild diluted soapy water mixture, spraying the leaves, letting it sit for a little bit, and then spraying the leaves with clean water to try and get rid of the spider mites. And it worked, but it also burnt the leaf tips, as you can see here. And yeah, and then the spider mites just came back. They really love this thing. Absolutely love it. I tried to spritz it in the morning to make it kind of humid. Set it on a pebble tray because spider mites don't really like humidity. And it's really dry in this bedroom. So I don't know if I'm going to throw it out, which I hate to do to any plant, or if I'm going to use it as a sacrificial plant because none of the other plants seem to be affected. I don't really want to do anything to promote spider mites in my home. But it's a lot of there is a lot of new growth. It's right across the room from a southwest facing sliding glass door. So even though it doesn't get direct sunlight, because I have the shears drawn most of the time, it gets bright light. So, okay, so there's that. And then here is my English ivy. And this is a relatively new plant, and I got it so it would trail down the wall. And it's not the brightest location for it, but it's doing well. It has new growth on it. My shadow's in the way. So I think it's doing well. I'm okay with it being a slow grower. I have such a small home and so many plants that I'm not in a hurry for them to get bigger. And then this is my little peperomia pixie lime. It's so cute. Picked this up at Home Depot. It was in their outdoor succulent section in the cold winter. It was not doing well. Picked up 2 of them. They're so cute. I really like peperomias. I can't believe I didn't know about them sooner. And then here is my first Phalaenopsis. And I don't normally have a humidifier in here, but I put this in here today because it was unusually dry. I don't want to do too much humidity because it's right across from my cotyledon that needs an arid environment. So I have more succulents in this room than I do tropicals. And I would move this, but I really like seeing it. If I move it into the humidity room, I won't see it that often. So, but it's doing well. So that is my Phalaenopsis. So we'll check on that in another 6 months. And then here is my golden pothos. This was a clipping from one of my co-workers' plants. And best type of plants to get. This clippings off of someone else's. It's really grown, a lot of new growth. It likes this environment a lot better. It likes the sunshine. I had it in a darker area, and it didn't take off until I put it in front of this window. And here's my silver dollar vine. And that one just takes a little bit babying. This was a Home Depot clearance. I had to repot it in some better soil. It was saturated, soaked, so it lost a lot of leaves. So I'm just keeping it, you know, more on the dry side. It's a succulent. And then here is my Marble Queen Pothos. I really, really, really like this one. And it's getting some new growth. It was really kind of yellow when I bought it. And as I've moved it into more light, the new growth is whiter. So I like that. And then down here, I have my little Peperomia Rosso. And that is so cute. It has a little flower bud. I really like peperomias. And then down here, I have an air plant. And I have the exact name of it underneath. But I just want to check and see how it's doing. And then down here, I have some Gasteria aristatas, some little pups that are rooting. And then down here, I have my Senecio Rollianus string of pearls, also from the clearance section of Home Depot. Wasn't doing very well. They're plumping up, they're rooting. Just have to be easy on the water with those. So here are my ponytail palms. One is mine and one is my daughter's. But I take care of both of them. I love the little pots. Those little pots are so cute. It's hard to see because of the light. So these did much better last winter than they are this winter because I'm not having them as close to the window, the sliding glass door, because I have citrus cuttings that are rooting right there. I don't know if you can see it, doesn't really matter. So, but these will be transitioned. They'll be hardened off and placed outside. But other than that, they're doing well. Very little water, especially in the wintertime. It's hard to keep the leaves dust free. But they've grown a lot since I've had them. They really have. They've grown a lot. So then my hairs, like I was talking, this is my Cotyledon pendants. And I don't know if you can even get a good view of this. This is a succulent that's very delicate, poisonous to animals. That's why I have it over here where my dogs can't get to it. It needs an arid environment. So it really liked it in my room before I brought that humidifier in. And it's just so, I can't capture how pretty it is. And the lighting, I really need to do this on a better, maybe in the morning. But it has these really pretty red tips to it when it gets decent sun exposure. And then up here is my, I can't even see that, get a good picture of the light. This is my fishhooks succulent. This was a hitchhiker in another pot that I bought from the nursery, and it was just one long strand. So I wound it up, took it out of that pot, and I wound it up and then placed it, pinned it down into the soil, and it has all of this new growth popping up. It really likes the bright light. Obviously, it's a succulent. It really enjoys the bright light. So, all right. And here's my calathea. This This one is so cute. I have some moss down here. And to keep some humidity going, because it's kind of dry in this room. So I have some moss that I keep moist, and it seems to really work. It hasn't developed too much in the way of brown tips yet, a little bit, but not too much. And then this one needs a lot of humidity. This is the heart fern, and I have this kind of ugly bowl on it. But this one requires a very high humidity. So I had a bowl on it. It was doing really well. I had a cover for this before, but it was crushing the top of the leaves, and as they were growing, there were a lot of large leaves. And so I traded it for this bowl, and it doesn't keep the moisture in as much, but it still works. And I trimmed off a lot of the leaves thinking that there was some sort of a fungus, because they had these brown spots. Like this. I don't know if I can. Oh well. Anyway, so they had these brown spots, and I thought it was a fungus, and come to find out after I clipped them off that it just meant that the fern was too cold. So this one will develop brown spots when it's too cold. And what I did is I have a little bit of water down at the very bottom, and I have some black lava rocks raising the moss up off the water. And then underneath, in the very center, holding this pot up above the water, is a little plastic cookie cutter that my daughter doesn't use anymore. And it raises the planter up off the water so that it's not sitting in water. And then I just mist this moss, and it keeps it moist. And it seems to be working. There is one little tiny, I don't know if you can see that, one little tiny growth coming up, but when it has a lot of humidity, it just sprouts new stems like crazy. So that is it for my room, and I think that's it. I think I just have to do the living room and the kitchen.